I never imagined that a single wine-soaked confession to my best friend would lead to her offering me the one thing I thought was strictly off limits, her own husband. Mara stood there with an effortless grace that always made the air feel like it was shifting just for her. My own composure wavered the moment her eyes locked onto mine, her lips curving into that famous, mischievous smile she was known for. She reached up, slowly adjusting the collar of her silk shirt, as if she were weighing a heavy secret in her mind. I suppose I shouldn't just sit here and let you stay this miserable while I have the answer, she said softly, her movements deliberate and calm as she draped her jacket over the side of the chair. But before we get into the rest of this surprising story, please take a second to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. It takes just a moment and helps more than you know. Now back to that night. I swear, if I hadn't spoken up soon, I might have actually lost my mind from the isolation. The confession tumbled out of me far too fast, fueled by 2 unfiltered glasses of wine and too many nights spent feeling completely invisible to the world. I was finally done pretending that I was okay with my own loneliness. Mara nearly choked on her drink before bursting into a fit of laughter. "That rough, huh?" she asked, her voice tinged with a mix of pity and amusement. I groaned, sinking my weight deep into the soft fabric of the couch, feeling the heavy burden of my own thoughts dragging at me like an anchor. My last relationship had been a total disaster. Let's just say the spark was barely a flicker, and trying to date in this current climate was just a series of awkward pauses and wasted effort. Mara tilted her head, studying me with an intensity that made me feel like she was reading my very soul. "So why not choose someone who is actually good for you for a change?" she asked. I muttered something about how I couldn't exactly pluck a decent man out of thin air. I didn't want just anyone to fill the space. I wanted to feel wanted, like I actually mattered. She watched me for a long, silent moment, then exhaled with that sharp sense of certainty she always got when she had finally made up her mind about something important. "I think I have the perfect answer for you," she said. I raised an eyebrow, warning her that if this was just another pitch for a new dating app, I was definitely going to pass. She simply cut me off, swirling the wine in her glass with a mischievous grin. "You should borrow my husband," she said. I froze in place. "Come again?" I asked, sure I had misunderstood. She shrugged, looking completely unfazed by her own scandalous suggestion. I waited for the punchline, for her to tell me she was joking, but her face stayed steady and calm. "You're joking," I whispered. "Why would I be joking?" she asked. "Because he's your husband." My voice actually cracked. Who even suggests something like that to a friend? "A friend who actually cares about your well-being," she said simply. I buried my face in my hands, feeling like she was making me sound incredibly pathetic. "You said it yourself," she reminded me gently. "You're unhappy, and you deserve so much more than what you've been settling for." I stared at her, completely speechless. Even if I thought about it, which I told myself I wasn't, there were so many variables. What about him? Does he even know you're saying this right now? Her smirk only deepened at my question. "Do you really think I'd offer something like this without asking him first?" A sudden pulse of nervous energy jumped in my chest. "What do you mean?" I asked. She explained casually that she had brought it up earlier and he hadn't said no to the idea. My thoughts were spinning in circles. The idea that he knew about this, and that he wasn't opposed to it, sent a strange and powerful pull through my entire body. It was as if she knew exactly how much I had been struggling and wanted to fix every broken piece of my heart in a single night. "Oh my God," I whispered, the reality of the situation sinking in. "Told you," she said with a triumphant grin. "He's wonderful, and he knows exactly how to make a woman feel truly valued." I couldn't even form words to respond. She leaned closer, her voice turning into a velvet whisper that seemed to wrap around me. "Be honest with me. If you stopped overthinking this for just 1 second, would you say yes?" I should have laughed. I should have dismissed the whole thing as a wine-induced fantasy. But I didn't, and she saw the truth reflected in my face. She sat back, looking very pleased. That's what I thought, she murmured. I told her the whole thing was ridiculous and she agreed, but then she asked if it didn't also sound incredibly exciting. Her fingers hovered over her phone screen. Last chance, she warned. Tell me to stop. I opened my mouth, but no sound emerged. She tapped the screen, sending a single message. Come over. A soft chime followed, then silence. He's on his way, she whispered, watching me closely. My heart was hammering. Minutes blurred until a firm knock sounded. Mara stood, smoothed her dress, and glanced back. Ready? I nodded, though I had no air left. She smiled and opened the door. Jonas walked in, steady, relaxed, and certain. His gaze found mine instantly. It wasn't demanding, just incredibly sure. He was even more striking than she had described. My stomach flipped. Mara laughed, curling her arm through his. Told you she was nervous, she teased. He didn't stare, but his gaze held mine, deliberate and full of approval. This is her? He asked. This is her, Mara confirmed. He nodded slowly, his lips curving into a look of genuine approval. Mara reached for my hand. I didn't walk away. Jonas's hand found mine, grounding and sure, and I followed. As the door shut, the air in the room shifted. His presence was immediate and steady, and it felt like he somehow understood my body's language before I even spoke a word. There was no awkwardness, just an overwhelming pull toward the two of them. When he leaned in close, the rest of the world dissolved. Mara's soft laugh echoed behind me, her hands gliding across my shoulders in a light, teasing contrast to his sure and steady grip. Heat swept through me, and I felt a shiver as the tension finally broke. Jonas guided me toward the center of the room, steady and certain, and I let myself sink into the moment, my pulse racing. Mara stepped away for a moment, watching with a purr of satisfaction. Go on, she encouraged. Show her the kind of attention she's been missing. Every touch sparked through my nerves, his presence wrapping around me like heat and gravity combined. Mara's fingers brushed my arm, feather light. You should see how beautiful you look, she whispered. I wasn't thinking anymore. I was just being. Together, they unraveled every fear I had. See? Mara murmured. I told you he was amazing. Then she stood, the energy of the room shifting as she joined us. I looked up at her, dazed and happy. She smiled, her movements slow and full of elegance. I think it's time we all enjoyed this together, she said. My breath faltered as she stepped closer. She's ready, Mara whispered. Jonas exhaled, his hands firm and reassuring, and I let myself fall into the trust and the need of the moment. No more thoughts, just them. Their closeness blurred the world until time itself seemed to stretch and overwhelm us. Mara's voice curled around me, telling me to just let go. And I finally did. When everything eventually became quiet and soft, Mara's fingers stayed loosely twined with mine. I told you we'd take care of you, she whispered. I couldn't answer. I was completely undone. For a long moment, none of us moved. The quiet wasn't awkward. It was grounding and tender. Jonas sat at the edge of the bed, his hand resting on my leg, his thumb tracing slow arcs that kept me anchored. Mara curled beside me, brushing a strand of hair from my cheek. You look lighter, she murmured. I let out a breath I'd been holding for years. I feel different, in a good way. They shared a protective look. This wasn't just for tonight, Mara said gently. You don't ever have to be alone anymore. Her words hit me deep, and I swallowed hard. So what happens now? Mara linked her fingers with mine. Whatever we want, she whispered. If you loved this video, please like and subscribe for daily stories like this. Also, comment your thoughts. I personally reply to everyone.